Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Juana Andrew with you as we're peering into a very cloudy view in Simpsonville as of right now. So here's what we have going on. Not much, thankfully, after what was a very active morning for parts of our region. Even I was awoken overnight around about 11 o'clock with some of those storms that moved through then. In our area overnight, there was nothing severe, but this morning, that was a different situation as we had the tail end of that line of thunderstorms moving into our region. And that certainly led to some issues for parts, but not all of Wave Country. We're on for about, I think, about an hour with tornado warnings this morning. So we had quite a bit happening across our area. Thankfully now, though, we're getting a little bit of a break before we see some more rain later on today. Not really expecting the severe weather that we had this morning, but going to be watching it. So here's what the radar looks like as of right now. A lot calmer. Some of you still dealing with the drizzle, mainly along in south of the parkways. But yeah, oof. It's nice to see a quiet radar. Let me tell you that right now. Oh, this morning was a lot. Good morning to Michelle in Linden. Hope you're having a good morning. Good morning, Angie. I hope you're having a great morning as well. Olivia, I completely slept through it. A neighbor was like, how? Yeah, how? It was so incredibly loud, those storms overnight and this morning. Even I sleep through most things like this, even when of course, it's not severe. But even I woke up with how loud the thunder was overnight and early this morning. It felt like it was shaking my place. So it's good to see so far that we haven't had any reports of injuries from those strong thunderstorms that we had overnight and earlier this morning. I just want to go back and look at the radar from earlier today and see what we were dealing with. So this is that loop of that band of thunderstorms that went through our area. So we had multiple tornado warnings touching anywhere from Grayson County all the way into Taylor and Southern Marion counties. So that was starting at just after about 5 o'clock and went all the way until around 7 o'clock this morning. So we had a lot of those severe thunderstorm warnings. We had those tornado warnings, and the National Weather Service is actually now heading down to Hart County to keep an eye on, to check out some of the damage that they had there. I'm seeing one report of some tree damage in Greene County. That was between Donnensburg. Please, y'all, if you're in Greene County, please help me say the names of your streets because I was struggling this morning. But Donnensburg and New Salem Church, that in between that area, that's where we had some tree damage from the storms earlier this morning. And then the one that the National Weather Service is going to survey right now for that potential tornado damage is in Hart County, near North Jackson Highway, near Magnolia. So yeah, we had a lot happen earlier this morning. Michaela, Tawana, girl, go home, go back to sleep. I wish I could go home and go back to sleep, but I still got to do midday. I'm not done yet. You're not getting rid of me just yet. But yes, so we've dealt with a lot. Thankfully, now things are quiet. And we had quite a bit of rain. Part of my concern was this morning was that potential for some isolated flooding. Thankfully, we did not have that happening in our area. That was mainly east of 75, so east of Lexington. They had to deal with some of that flooding. But we had around 2 to 3 inches of rainfall in some spots. Everybody see the yellow? Yeah, we had a lot of rain with those storms that moved through last night, earlier this morning. And then we have the potential for even more of that rain coming in later on today. So we have a lot to watch. Now, what was that warm front earlier this morning is now a cold front, basically draped right along the parkways. And when I show you the temperature map, you're going to be like, huh? Let's look at this right now. It is 64 degrees in Columbia and Mumfordville, right? But it's 44 right now in North Vernon. So we're going to continue to watch these temperatures. And depending on where you are, you may not hit 50 this afternoon. That's a little bit more likely for those of you further to the north, but south of the parkways, this is where more of those low to mid 60s are expected as the day continues. So yes, it is going to be warm across the region for some, but not all of us. And we're going to be keeping an eye on a whole lot going on for the rest of the day. So let's dive into it, because when I tell you your girl is tired just thinking about it, this is not even like after what happened this morning, because I'm tired from that. But your girl is tired looking ahead to what we have going on. We do still have that marginal risk of severe weather for those of you south of the parkways. Part of that is because of those showers and thunderstorms that we had earlier this morning. So they're kind of covering their bases with some of the damaging winds, the hail, the isolated tornadoes that we saw this morning. But we're also going to keep an eye on later on this evening for another round of some thunderstorms. Now, while that severe threat is not as great as what we were seeing earlier this morning, it's still something that we have to watch pretty closely, because Michaela is asking the question, does the previous storm's rain affect what's going on later? And usually it would, but this time around, we still have the frontal boundary nearby. So there's still going to be quite a bit for these storms to feed off of as we get into later on this evening. So let's break down a little bit more the timing of what we're going to be seeing. So the Futurecast, this particular one, has done a really great job at nailing down what we are going to see for the rest of the day and what we've seen so far. So I'm going to keep rolling with it. We're looking at those 60s. It's not doing great on the temperatures, though. None of the models are doing great on the temperatures across the area. To be fair, I wouldn't do myself, because this front is really messing things up. But as of right now, we're seeing those 60s, those 40s across our area from north to south. And then as we continue throughout the rest of the day, going to see more clouds overhead. We could even see some breaks in those clouds at times. So some of you may get a little bit of sunshine here and there for the rest of the morning and into the early afternoon. It's once we get past about 5, 6 o'clock this evening that we see some more of those thunderstorms coming back into play. Yes, they can produce some heavy rain. Yes, they can produce some gusty winds. And we'll keep an eye on that hail threat again, and that potential for an isolated tornado or two. While that threat is not great, it is still there, so we are still going to watch it. As we get further into the evening hours, we are going to keep an eye on some more of those storms. So really watching after about 5, 6 o'clock through 8, 9, and by midnight, anything that's falling from the sky is going to be out of our area. Now, once we get past that, the clouds do look to clear, and that would allow our temperatures to drop behind this cold front, and we'll end up in the 20s and low 30s for tomorrow morning. So it is going to be quite chilly. Now, notice it is still showing the chance for additional 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of rain in most spots along and south of 64. So that kind of shows you how southern Indiana, you're not really expecting much for the rest of the day. You're just going to be coasting along in those 40s and low 50s for the rest of the day, while the rest of us further to the south are going to be watching for more of those showers and thunderstorms. So the further south you are, the better your rain chance as we get into the rest of the day. And let's talk about the 10-day, because what we're going to be talking about for tomorrow, some sun, some clouds across the area, highs in the 40s. So your Friday is going to be right around what we should be seeing at this time of the year. Then we head into Saturday. Saturday, we're watching it closely because we're still seeing those 60s in the forecast. And for those of you closer to the Tennessee border, you do have a chance to see temperatures near 70 degrees. I certainly cannot rule that out in your area for Saturday. But there is a chance for some gustier thunderstorms, some stronger thunderstorms Saturday evening, mainly across Kentucky again, with this front moving through. Still got to watch a few things, especially after we get rid of this system for today, to nail down whether or not we'll have an alert day for Saturday. But as of right now, we're just going to keep an eye on the potential for some gustier thunderstorms and watch for that. We're not outlooked for anything, by the way, for Saturday. And then behind that system, we cool down quite a bit. So that means for Super Bowl Sunday, for those of you maybe having a Super Bowl party, chili or some soup. I know it may not be the typical Super Bowl party food, but it wouldn't be a bad idea with the cold temperatures that we'll have coming our way on Sunday. So plan ahead accordingly. I don't know if any of my in-laws are watching, but I wouldn't mind some chili on Sunday. I'm just going to throw that out there. Once we head into next week, this is the next thing that we'll be watching. Another system trying to bring some rain, some snow, and tree mix across parts of our region. Now, the modeling is lining up a little bit more on the timing, showing some more of that snow trying to move in Monday night into early on Tuesday. And then we'll see that potential for rain and snow as Tuesday goes along. But notice the difference in terms of where it has that boundary. This is why we always say it's going to be so important for the tracks of these lows, because that will dictate whether or not most of our region sees rain or whether or not most of our region see snow. So this is why it's so important to keep an eye on the track of these lows, and which is why you won't hear me quite a few days out unless everything is exactly in agreement. You won't hear me a couple of days out giving you totals for snow like this, because there's still so many variables in the forecast. But as of right now, we're watching this system. The current timing that we have going on is Monday night. We start to see a wintry mix, some snow trying to move in. And then we see that potential for rain and snow as we head throughout Tuesday. Exactly where we see that holding on is still something to watch. Then by Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, a little bit of a dry time. Okay. All the models agreeing on that. And then we get into Wednesday night and then Thursday. This is where the modeling doesn't quite agree on the timing, how quickly that secondary wave is going to move in. But we are watching for that potential for more wintry weather Wednesday night into Thursday. So really keeping an eye on Tuesday and Thursday of next week for the potential for some snow, wintry mix across our area. Still way too early to put any of those numbers out. And we're going to be keeping an eye on that. So yes, we're talking everything from the potential for more thunderstorms this afternoon and Saturday to the chance for wintry weather next Tuesday and Thursday. Also, next Friday is Valentine's Day. So just throwing that out there. For the following weekend, for those of you maybe doing anything for Galentine's Day, Valentine's Day the following weekend, we are looking at some milder temperatures and some rain chances trying to come our way then. So quite a bit to deal with over the next 10 days. I know it has been certainly a lot that we just dealt with this morning. For those of you further to the south of Louisville, still working to get more information on damage. And certainly as the National Weather Service goes out and surveys the area, as they bring information to us, we'll bring that information to you. So yes, it has been a lot today. We have some more of those storms on the way, and we're going to continue to keep an eye on more of that wintry weather possible as we get into next week. So a little bit of everything for almost everyone, except for me. I'm asking for 75 and sunshine, and that's not showing up on the 10-day just yet. So I guess we have to wait a little bit longer for that. But I hope everyone is safe. We do still have some power outages going on in the southern counties because of those storms that moved through earlier. So I know crews are out working to get that restored. I know even some of those trees down and power lines down that we were seeing earlier this morning because of those storms that moved through. For those of you south of the Western Kentucky and Bluegrass Parkways, crews have already been out, already working on cleaning up stuff. Even trees that were down on the road have been cleared. So things are looking better in that regard. We just have to keep an eye on what's going to happen later on this evening and then again on Saturday in terms of storms. But I'm going to hop off and go to our morning meeting to fill in everybody on the news side of what we're looking at for the rest of the day. And then I'll be breaking down what we're looking at in terms of more modeling coming in, and I'll bring that to you on midday at 11 a.m. So yeah, it has been a long morning so far for some of you. If you're able to get back to go back to sleep, go and get some rest. For those of you heading out to work, to school, that's something that we'll keep you updated on the Wave Weather app and on air. Brandon, you have a really good question. Might flooding be a concern in the future? Yes. Because if we keep dealing with temperature swings like this and keep going back and forth from snow to rain to whatnot, eventually the ground is going to be too saturated. So if we get more of that rain on top of already saturated ground, it's going to run off, and that could lead to some flooding. That's one way. Also with snow trying to come our way, depending on how much we get next week, that could also lead to some more issues as it melts. And so especially since we're not the only ones dealing with the wintry weather and the rain, especially upstream of the Ohio, some of that might start to roll our way. So that's something that we'll have to watch over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, the river flooding concern, but also that localized flooding concern with the heavier rain that we've already seen. Even with some of the storms later on this afternoon, flooding is going to be a concern with that for those of you basically from, I'll say, Bardstown and E-Town south. So we'll be watching it. Don't worry. Kevin is awake. Ryan is, of course, awake because he came and helped me with the severe weather we had earlier today. And the whole Wave Weather team, we'll have Carson in tomorrow. and he will be here throughout the weekend. And if he needs help over the weekend with anything storm-wise, we'll hop in to help him out. So we're all a team here. I see someone saying that Brian has to come back. so I can go get some sleep. He is enjoying a little mini vacation, so I'm gonna leave him alone. He deserves it. But yeah, I'll be back on midday with the latest updates. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all just stay weather aware. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you at 11 a.m.